Most men are distracted by comfort, relationships, validation, and fear. Now, many men don't know how to stay grounded in relationships, handle pressure, or live with real purpose. But why? Because most men abandon themselves trying to please everyone else. And this book argues something dangerous. A man becomes weak the moment he abandons his purpose. The book of the week is The Way of the Superior Man by Deida. And honestly, this is a must-read for men. Some of the lessons in this book can help men rebuild confidence, improve relationships, avoid destructive habits, and achieve more in life. So let's dive in. It just got me thinking, some marriages would have been saved if the husband probably laid his hands on a book like this to read, or probably got a copy of a book like this. It's actually an interesting book, and I feel like every man should read the book. The book is focused for men actually, but women can actually read the book also. So if you're a man, read the book. If you're a woman and you want your husband to read the book, you can get him or give him a copy of this book. So the book is a nice book. I'm going to be diving into it. Now, this book is too deep. Whatever I will be saying today would only be shallow. I would recommend that you read the book. Trust me, this book has the potential to save some marriages. Now, the book is split into 8 parts. Each of the parts addressing a particular phase, or should I say a particular aspect of a man's life. There may be some that are probably not captured in this book, but the book is actually a solid book that I feel every man should read. There's some parts in the book though that are not meant for single people. So, but for the parts that are meant for single people, that are single men that are wanting to marry, or just men in general, I would recommend you read the book. The book outlines purpose. It also outlines how a man should take care of his wife, and it outlines lots of things actually. So if you're somebody that is starting out and you're looking for direction, or you're trying to know how to maximize your masculine energy, or know how to achieve what you're meant to achieve more, then this book can actually be the foundation or the starting point for you. I'll be mentioning some few points from the book, some things that I picked in the book, but what I'll be doing, like I said, it will just be very, very shallow. The book has like an ocean, and I'm just like sharing, like, let's say a spoon or a drop, just to entice you to read the book more. So let's dive into it. One of the things you will learn from this book is that purpose comes before everything else, even your relationships. Now, when a man abandons his purpose to chase other things, to chase a family, to chase satisfying others, then he slowly loses confidence and direction. Now, relationships are supposed to support purpose, not replace it. And if a man doesn't have that particular support, he becomes weak emotionally. So it is very, very much important. Many people actually enter a relationship, and while they're in a relationship, they decide to, forget about the reason why they are even existing to start with, right? So whenever all of us have purpose, if you don't have purpose, you need to go and know what your purpose is. We all have our purpose. We all have our legends. We all have things that we're supposed to accomplish. Now, when you get into relationships with others, or basically with others, or let's say with your life partner, you don't forfeit every other thing just to follow that particular thing. You're supposed to actually imbibe what you are doing and imbibe the relationship into it. Thereby, everything is moving in one line. So you don't forgo one for the other. When you forgo your purpose just to chase relationship, at the end of everything, you may end up not feeling satisfied. Now, this dissatisfaction is going to come from you not accomplishing what you are supposed to accomplish. And your life will be feeling more and more meaningless, right? And also, your own family would also see that reflection. They would be looking at you lesser and lesser and lesser. Yeah, it happens like that. But to you, you actually did everything because you wanted to please the family. But accomplishing your purpose is actually a greater stuff that will actually lead to greater respect and greater accomplishments in you. An instance, let's assume a man was supposed to go out to war, and let's say he's supposed to tell his wife, goodbye, I'm going out for war and all that. The wife would actually have a feeling, and she'll be like, no, don't go. I want you to stay back. Now, that is what she's saying. The thing there is that if the man agrees and stays back, at that moment, the wife will be feeling lesser and lesser of him. It will look as if he did it for love, but then to her, it will make him to look weak. Now, if he insists that he's going, she may end up saying, I know you didn't, I want you to stay. but I know you have to go. Because of that, I'll miss you. Now, at that particular moment, he's actually accomplishing his own purpose, and that thing he is doing alone will actually increase his own masculinity before him and before his wife. Another thing you will learn from this book is you will learn to lean just beyond your edge. Now, growth starts where comfort stops. What does this mean? We all have our threshold, we have our limits, we have where we reach and then we break. By living just beyond the edge, we are trying to say that particular place that you feel is your breaking point, live around that particular place. Let it be as if you break. There's this saying, we used to say, Yakubu, manage. Now, it is true actually. In this instance, we are trying to say, Yakubu, manage. You will feel it, but don't worry, you will survive it. Live just beyond your edge. Don't go too far so that you don't end up breaking yourself. Now, growth starts where comfort ends. Many things, the best thing of many things don't used to come easy. So you have to make sure that you live beyond your edge. Just beyond, just around that particular border of where you feel you will not be able to survive. Around that particular place, living at that particular edge will make you to be stronger. Now, what would happen when you become stronger in that particular place? It then means that particular new place would end up becoming a norm, and then you will now have a new edge. At that particular moment, you find out that you are expanding your horizon and you are expanding your discipline and you're becoming better and better and better. That is one of the ways that would make you to be a superior man. The thing there is that many people don't like resistance, but for you to succeed, you must go to that particular place of least resistance. It is very, very much important. Go to the place of least resistance. That's where you find your breakthrough there. That's where you find growth, because at the place of least resistance, comfort reduces. Another thing you will learn again is that when you read this book, you realize that your fear is actually one of your greatest teachers. Learn to use it. Fear is not always a warning sign. At times, it's a direction sign. And so, running from fear may keep men stuck in a particular cycle for years. According to the book, the areas we tend to avoid more and more tend to be the areas whereby we need to grow more and more. It means your fear can actually be an indicator. When you are seeing that you are scared in this particular area, it may just be telling you to wake up and learn more in that particular area. Or it may just be telling you to lean towards that particular area, because that may be where your breakthrough lies. You know, the road to success used to be rough at times, and because of that, it may not look smooth. So whenever you are going through a path like that, you should expect to have fear. You know, fear should be an indicator that you are moving through the right path. The fear of not being eaten by a lion will make you not to enter into the lion's den. So fear is very, very much important. Now, I know I'm saying that fear can be an indicator, but please take note. I don't want to see people moving foolishly to go through things that would actually kill them and then just end up going there because we are saying fear is an indicator of success, and then you just go there and then you face every single fear. Some fears are very, very much important. I've made a video previously, and in my book, Becoming a Guide to Self-Development, I made reference to this thing. The thing there is that no matter the kind of courage I have in this life, I will not enter into the lion's den to go to fight the lion without having any particular form of advantage. That would just literally make you to go like a chicken. So you need to take note of that. Fear is important. The fear can be an indicator of where you are supposed to go to grow, but at the same time, that same fear can actually be the one thing that is keeping you alive. So just know what that particular fear is indicating. This particular point is similar to the point I referenced before this. The point that I'm saying, just beyond your edge. So it's very much important whenever you're moving to do things. Whenever you're moving to do things that you're not familiar with doing, you know, the fear used to come, and then it used to make you to feel like, will I succeed in this? Will I succeed in this? Face it. Just go. And then, you know, before you know it, you could actually have breakthrough in it. One other thing that this book talks about, it's funny though, but it's actually true. Women test a man's strength, confidence, and direction consistently. Now, a woman wants to feel safe. She wants to feel protected. She wants to feel confident. But for that to happen, she needs to have a man that can actually protect her. So subconsciously or consciously, I don't know, but women actually do these particular tests on men. It may not be intentional as tests, but the cues you give her in certain actions makes her to see you as a confident man or as a weak man. When a man becomes easily shaky, needy, or uncertain in a relationship, it makes her to lose confidence in him. When a man is not capable of making decisions, it makes the woman to lose confidence in him. Now, this book made something that was very, very funny. The book said, you don't follow everything that your wife tells you to do or that your loved one tells you to do. if she asks you, if she informs you, if she asks you to act this particular way, or she advises you on this, on that, on this, on that, you don't always follow everything. Now, we are not saying you should throw away her advice, no. But what we are saying is there are situations whereby your heart is telling you to act in this particular way, but because she actually said act in this particular way, you just end up acting in that particular way. Now, by doing so, you are showing her that you're not confident in your own opinion. You're showing her that what you believe in is not actually true, it's not actually strong. It should just get her to be questioning you. You may feel like you're doing a nice thing, but it may just get her to be questioning you, and she may just be wondering, this guy is always making decisions like this. Am I sure that I can handle him in terms of making decisions? Because decisions are what make a man. And if you can't make decisions on your own, then I don't know. So if she's looking for somebody that can protect her, then you should be capable of making decisions. Now, of course, you should listen to her, because she will give you many advices that you are supposed to follow. But let's assume you really, really want to act in this particular way. You should also learn to follow and listen to your own heart and make the decision. Now, about that particular decision you are making, of course, you don't know the outcome. The outcome may be a success, it may be failure. Now, one of the reasons why people actually follow advice from others is that if I follow advice that this particular persons give me all the time and I don't follow my own advice, it means I may not be able to blame myself for the failure. So it's easier for them to now blame others for it. But when you take that decision, it means you're making a decision saying, even if I go through this particular path and then it ends up failing, I know fully well that I made it, and then I'm going to take full responsibility. At least you owned up to it. It is important. Know when to listen. Have a balance. Know when to listen to advices and know when you're supposed to make the decision yourself. It is important as a man. If you want to learn the way of the superior man, then you must learn to do this particular thing. This will lead you to tapping a strong energy, and that particular thing is one of the things that will retain your woman. If you don't do this particular thing, you will be becoming weaker and weaker and weaker in her sight. And the problem with all of these things is, if you don't actually act as the masculine man and then you keep on acting with the feminine side of you more frequently, your wife or the person you love, is supposed to would subconsciously start developing the masculine trait, because she needs a masculine protection in her life. She would start subconsciously developing that particular masculinity in herself. Now, that's not supposed to be so, but she had to do it. Why did she have to do it? Because you were lacking. You didn't develop it. Now, what would happen if you develop it? Can she just develop it for everybody to go? The thing there is that later on, after some years, when she loses her feminine essence, you yourself will not be happy. But the thing there is that you caused it. You see, that's why it's possible that some people can stay happy for a while. The woman would want the man to be acting in a particular way. He won't act in that particular way. Now, what she will now do is she will now start creating an adaptive mechanism that will make her to adapt to the man's way of doing things. That particular thing will now make her to be dropping her feminine essence. And then before a while, before you know it, when some years pass by, the man may not be seeing her as if she's not acting the way she's supposed to act, and then there may not be chemistry. You may not be wondering what actually caused it, but you would forget that years ago you didn't act the way you're supposed to act. You didn't make some particular key decisions, and then she was losing your touch gradually. Now, this applies in many things. So you see, it's actually a great window. That's one of the reasons why I said this particular book actually save relationships, because when you go back to the drawing board, you realize that the reason why some people actually splitted is probably from things that happened a while ago, not recently. And then the man actually ended up not bringing out more and more of his essence, and then he didn't play his role at all. And then while he was not playing his role, he made her to cover up and play the role for him, which was not supposed to be so. So if you want to save your relationship, you need to learn to own your own masculine essence. It is very, very much important. Don't allow your wife hold it for you. No, it is your own duty, it is your own responsibility. You need to be a man. Now, one of the things that you'll also learn from this particular book is that now there's a way women think, there's a way women act. You need to understand what makes women tick. You need to understand what women say when they say some particular things. They don't really mean what they say at times. Now, when a woman tells you something, or when she wants you to act in a particular way, or she wants you to do something, you need to read her mood before she actually made that particular statement. Was she happy? Was she sad? All of these particular cues would help you to know whether or not you are supposed to act in this particular way or not, because at times women don't actually mean what they say. Now if you misread them, then you may not end up having things the way it's supposed to be. Now you may say it's their fault because they didn't express it well. Oga, it's your fault, you didn't learn how to understand her. Just take note of that, and try to understand women. I'm saying that if you don't understand women, you people can have some serious clashes. At the end of everything, something that would have been beautiful may now end because you failed to understand. Now, this is a cue for you to understand them. Knowledge is power, but ignorance should not be an excuse. When your mission in one phase is complete, learn to move forward instead of clinging to comfort. Now, this book teaches us that life moves in seasons. Now, holding on to a completed season already in your life and staying there would lead to comfort and not growth. What are you trying to say? There's a time that you're supposed to be in a particular place. Another time you're supposed to move to another place. Now, when you were little, you were in your junior schools and then you were learning something, learning how to read, learning how to write and some other things. As you advanced, you were growing higher also, and probably right now you are a graduate from the university. Years ago you were not a graduate, but because you were moving on, you were following the seasons in your life and you were growing, you are now in a higher place. Now this is also same in every aspect of your life. There are seasons and you need to know seasons. You need to read the seasons. Know that this season is for this and that season is for that. When you know that, it will totally help you to move. It applies to things. It also applies to jobs also. You can be working in a particular place, and then when you feel like the season has reached for you to grow and advance to another level, you can actually grow and advance to another level. It may not mean that where you are working is small, no, but then you are trying to follow your purpose to achieve what you want. If you don't do that particular thing, you may end up not having more fulfilled life. Now, why is this thing important? You see, people normally don't do this. Why don't they do this? Because they feel like, okay, I don't know what will happen. There's a fear of the uncertain, and that makes them to stay where they are at times. But at times, it's important for you to embrace that particular fear. Please take note of what I'm saying with caution before you leave where you're having your daily bread and go and chase rubbish. I end up failing. Many things have to be in place for something like this to work. What am I saying? Real growth comes from knowing when to let go of something. It's very, very much important for you to always know when to let go. Now, at times you may be doing something, and most at times when you're letting go of something, at times it's something that probably is not big, but then that particular phase of your life was essential. Maybe there was a time that you were a truck pusher. That truck pushing stage is essential in your own growth, but then when it is time for you to move on, it's important for you to stop that particular thing and then move on to another stuff. Maybe you're a secretary to somebody. It's possible that there may be a time that you feel like you're supposed to grow and outgrow that particular place to achieve some particular things. When you reach that particular season, it's important for you to let go. Of course, while you're letting go, you should make sure that you let go with no friction. It's very, very much important. And then you weigh the situation first. If it's a situation that you can let go of, then you let go of it. It's not as if by letting go, you will now be hurting others. So because I say let go, you just let go and then hurt others that you are growing. It doesn't work that way. I don't think that should be the approach that you should follow. So you should do it systematically. Yeah. When the time has reached, and the way things work is that things can actually fall in your favor in some particular ways when it's time for you to move. But if you don't move, then you probably won't even see the things falling into place. So you need to take note of this particular thing. If you want to achieve more in life, if you want to tap into your masculinity, you need to know when the project is done. Now, does that mean that you didn't like the project before? No. When you were doing that particular project, that project was your all in all. That particular phase in your life was very, very much important, and you felt like you could do nothing with that particular period. And it is okay. When you now feel as if that particular joy is going, it's possible that you've achieved what you were supposed to achieve in that particular area. And it's now important for you to now learn that it is time for you to move on and have more things. Some people retire at early ages and then they now start something else. Some people sell their businesses at a particular age and then they start something else when they feel they've actually accomplished some particular things. Now, I feel this is more of personal. Between you internally, you are the one that will feel how this growth is coming, and then you are the one that will know how to adjust. Now, these are just few points from this great book. I would recommend every man to read this particular book. Of course, there are different parts. The book is split into 8 different parts, and I didn't even touch much of the book. So I would recommend that you read this book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. Do well to like, share, and subscribe if this video blessed you, so that it can also touch others. This is my advice for you. Take it and please don't leave it.